Tonight's species is one of my favorites. It can be found throughout the Gulf of Mexico and then north through the Carolinas. I've been lucky enough to fish for them all over the country. They tail in the shallows as well as stage in channels and jetties, and I love how easy they can be caught on artificials. Tonight it's all about the redfish here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Welcome back to an exciting week on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. We hope everyone had a wonderful Father's Day weekend of catching, but we're back this week talking about catching one of Rick's all-time favorite, like he said, and most beloved species, redfish.
You know it, Brie.
Week, Rick.
The one thing I love about redfish is certainly that we can catch them 12 months out of the year, 365 here in the state of Florida, and man, it's hard to have a fishery that dependent, and it really seems to work.
Absolutely. Well, we have some special guests from CCA and Florida Coast Equipment we'll be talking to a little later in the show. So before we get to our first captain, let's see what we're chatting about with Dave and a special guest at the CCA workbench about redfish.
Well, we're lucky. We got Captain Ron Houston from the Southwest region here. He's going to talk us all about redfish. You know, he's a champion. Redfish champion.
Well, I mean, I get a little reputation, but it's an honor being with the man who knows it all. And I get the opportunity tonight to take over the reins and show you how simple it is for the easy Joe to go out and catch a few redfish.
Wow.
Nice.
He's so humble. Such a gem. Love you, Ronnie. All right, a good place to start this redfish rally is in the Real Legends Central East region, captained by Jim Ross. Tell us where we're going to find him, Jim.
Well, you know, the Mosquito Lagoon, the Indian, Banana Rivers, all of our area inlets, you know, Ponce, Port Canaveral, Sebastian, we've got redfish everywhere. And so that's what's really great about my region. Like Rick said, 12 months out of the year, we're chasing these things. And if you're looking to find some slot-sized fish, look for those lagoons that we talked about to be holding those slot-sized fish. However, I've seen quite a few slot-sized fish coming from the Port Canaveral jetty here the last couple of days. Right now, you want to concentrate along the shorelines around mangroves, docks, places that have some protection. If there's any kind of bottom cover, bottom structure, whether it be Calorpa or there's a few places that have some grass, and if they have mullet around them, that is a great place to find slot fish right now. Now for those bigger bulls, they're gonna run the deeper flats, those outside edges of the bars, places like Haulover Canal, this North and South Bridge at New Smyrna, and you know, those guys are eating 5 to 8 inch croakers, they're eating whole and cut crabs, they're eating full-size mullet, chunks of ladyfish. For the bigger fish, those big bulls, you want to use a 5/0 to 7/0 size hook. For those smaller ones that are ranging in the 18 to 25 inches, you know, saltwater assassin 4 and 5 inch jerk baits seem to work really well. Most of our fish are running, you know, slot size fish are running in that 18 to 25 inch range. And then our big bulls are anywhere from 35 to 50 inches right now. And I've got a picture here of one that was recently taken by us in the Indian River.
Wow,
and,
that's a big dog right there.
Yeah,
man.
we grow them a little bigger than around some of the other areas. And you can catch that fish right there in 2 feet of water. That's what's really cool about our lagoons here. Now, my second species is Spanish mackerel, and they're running up and down the intracoastal waterways around the Sebastian Inlet and up into the Melbourne area, also down around Vero, inside, and you can also find them just about any place that there's glass minnows along the outside beaches. So just run down the beach until you see the seagulls and the pelicans flopping on the pods, and then just start throwing diamond jigs, small lures, little spoons, little lip diving plugs all actually work as well. And our Spanish, you can actually get them trolling a Clark spoon just about as effectively as anything else. So if you don't like to cast a lot, you can just troll and catch these fish. Most of them are running about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds, but some of them are running up to 4 pounds. And you can also sometimes get some of those little bonitas in there, especially if you're throwing, you know, a plug like the one that Rick is holding up there, those little gotcha plugs. And I've got a little Sebastian Inlet picture here of a fish that we caught just the other day. This fish was literally 200 yards or 300 yards south along the inlet. It wasn't very far at all. And, you know, a little bucktail jig is all you need, and you can catch them. Put a little fish bite on it. That does seem to help, that's for sure. Right. Swinging offshore, mangrove snapper bite's still very good throughout the region. 70 to 130 feet is where you're going to find most of these fish. You're going to need to get those fish up off the bottom. So chum them, you know, use that box chum and those chunks of sardines. And so chumming and chunking is the way to pull those fish up, get them up behind the boat. Most of these fish are going to, you know, they're going to be real sharp-eyed. They got really good eyesight. So you're going to have to downsize your leader down to about 25 or 30-pound test and a small 1/0 size or a 1 or 1/0 size hook, and put it inside of that bait, one of those baits, as you're drifting those chunk baits back. And most of our fish are running about 3 to 4 pounds. You're going to find some fish are running in that 5 to 6 pound range, and we got quite a few of those big ones still hanging around that are in that 10 and even 11 pound class this week. And then our last species is shark. Now, at the beginning of the week, the sharks were absolutely on fire. We've had a little bit of cold water that's moved in, and with that cold water, it's dispersed the sharks out just a little bit. So the fishing for them isn't quite as good as it was a couple of days ago. But as that water starts to warm back up, those fish should come right back into the beach, because we've got a plethora of bait in there. We've got glass minnows, we've got Spanish sardines, we've got those little bonitas, and we've got croakers everywhere up and down the beaches. So these fish right now, you're going to find them. You're going to find sharp noses, you're going to find fine tooths, black tips, black noses. We've even had hammerheads coming up and eating our baits here in the last couple of days. Most of those fish are going to run about 20 to 40 pounds. Those bigger hammerheads, black tips, and spinners, some of those fish are going to run up into the 100 and 100+ pound range. And I've got a picture of a typical fine tooth shark, about a 20-pound fine tooth, 25 pounds fine tooth. These little sharks are everywhere up and down the beaches. They're a lot of fun on light tackle, and you guys can go out there, throw a bait out, and catch these things all day long with a little piece of wire leader in front of it.
Man, great report from the Real Legends Central East region, Jim. We appreciate all your hard work each week.
Good thing.
And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Rodan marine hotspots from the Central East region. He says inshore, Spanish mackerel near the glass minnow pods along the area beaches, cast diamond jigs, spoons, streamer flies, where the fish are being seen busting. And then offshore, mangrove snappers on the reefs and wrecks in 80 to 130 feet of water. Use chum and sardine chunks for fish up to 10 pounds, 10-pound mangrove snapper. Whoa. That's dinner.
That's what we like to see. All right, we hope Dad got some new threads for Father's Day. And if he loves Real Legends, here's your chance to get him more. Now through June 29th, get 30% off Real Legends apparel for men by going to reallegends.com. Happy shopping. I know I was there today. Giving up my dad.
I was there too.
Were you?
Yes, of course.
Look at you.
Look at me go.
Decked out. All right, we're now on to bluer waters in the Garmin Panhandle region with Captain Pat Deneen. Hope you had a great Father's Day, Pat.
Yeah, Brie, I did. And as far as red fishing goes, as everybody's already mentioned, it definitely is a year-round inshore fishery. The best fishing for both numbers and quality as far as size of fish is going to be in the fall, September, October, and November, as the fish congregate inside the passes. And it's usually going to be the bigger bull redfish, and they're going to be best on that outgoing tide using live bait. I mean, right now, the big bull redfish are along the beaches and also in the deeper parts of the bays. Areas like the Hathaway and Tyndall bridges in Panama City or the 3 Mile Bridge in Pensacola. In fact, currently there's been a really good afternoon bite going on pretty much daily at the Hathaway Bridge using live baits or swim baits. You can mark the fish on the bottom machine or just blind cast and fish deep in the water occasionally, then come up to the surface. The slot fish are going to be along the grassy bottoms, usually shallow near the shorelines and also around the residential docks. Along the shorelines, the mouths of the tidal creeks, runoff ditches, or really any other place where you have some inflow can be a hot spot. They can be caught with live baits like spot minnows or croakers, either free-lined or fished under a cork. But you can cover more ground with lures, and lures of choice are going to be gold spoons and soft plastics in red and gold colors or chartreuse colors. If it's a light bottom and clear water, I like to use light-colored baits. The darker the bottom and the more stay in the water, I like to use darker colored baits. And there's a photo of a really nice redfish caught in the sound with Captain Chuck Kemper. And that fish is clearly over slot size. It was caught up in the shallows. He likes to use live baits under a cork or bass assassin paddle tail soft plastics. And the redfishing's been real consistent lately.
Tell me about the tarpon, Pat Tar.
Man, staying inshore, the tropical storm Claudette gave us rough weather since last weekend, affecting both inshore and offshore fishing. And just now things are starting to return to normal. Prior to the storm, tarpon fishing along the beaches was really, really good. There was lots of fish being found, slowly migrating westward along the outer bar. Panhandle anglers like to fish with them with live baits and flies. Crooked Island's a great place to fly fish for them. They tend to swim shallow, and you can anchor up and pattern the fish as they kind of come by some pinch points. The western parts of the panhandles, sometimes they can be good on fly, but live baiting is definitely more consistent. Live cigar minnows, herrings, and pilchards, nose hooks on heavy spinning tackle and 60 to 80 pound leaders. And what's really important is don't chase the fish. Let the fish come to you. If you're behind the fish and casting at them, you're probably not going to succeed. You want to be up ahead of the fish. And there's a picture of Tyler from Mobile with one of several fish he caught with me late last week prior to the weather moving in. That fish is typical of the fish showing up this time of year. As the season gets later, they tend to get more in size. Moving offshore, the red snapper is still the primary fish being targeted, and I say offshore, but some really nice ones are also being caught inside Pensacola Bay. But wherever you're fishing for them, bottom structure is key to finding them, either natural bottom structure or man-made structure. Generally, 80 to 200 foot of water is where you want to be looking for them. In shallower areas, you can chum them up by chunking and then free line a hook bait or a chunk bait with a hook in it. Deeper areas fish live cigar minnows or herrings on 4 strip baits on a slip sinker rig. Red snappers up to and over 20 pounds are being caught, and there's some really large ones being caught as well. And then finally, offshore, a few kings are being caught either by free lining baits while bottom fishing or by targeting kingfish with slow trolled live baits over and around bottom structure or the bait schools. And just this past couple of days since the seas have laid down, Panama City has had a really good bite of kingfish. The cigar minnows, herrings, and speedos are the preferred bait. Nose hook them on a stinger rig. Put the stinger rig through that little pocket right between their nose and their eye. And then the stinger hook, you can either let it free swing or bury it near the tail. I haven't seen or heard of any big ones being caught, with most running 10 to 12 pounds, but bigger fish are definitely possible, as are bonus fish like dolphin, wahoo, and blackfin tunas.
All right, thank you so much, Pat. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. Inshore, if the seas cooperate, the tarpon on the beaches throughout the Garmin Panhandle region, and then offshore, swordfish day or night around the Okaloosa fads north to south of the spur.
All right, Rick, we'll come in right up. We're walking our dog into the Alta Equipment Company Keys region and then seeing what secrets the Redfish duo over there has for us for Academy Sports and Outdoors rigs and techniques at the CCA workbench. Any secrets, Jonathan, you want to share?
He's going to share all the secrets.
I've
already told everybody everything I know, but he's going to be sharing some of his secrets.
Ain't going to be no secrets. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag and show you how simple it is to catch a redfish in the Southwest region.
Oh, it sounds amazing. We'll be back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats, always in the game. Fenwick. SiriusXM Marine. Weather, fishing mapping, entertainment. Penn. Let the battle begin. Stiffy. Innovators in shallow water performance. And Daiquiri Deck. Sarasota's favorite place to meet.
Reliability. Yamaha is known for it. And it's something boaters value, because these days, few things are built to last. When we find something that is, we hold on to friendships, traditions, outboards. Because every second on the water is sacred. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters choose Yamaha for the long run, for life. Because reliability starts here.
What started in the flats and bays has migrated offshore. GPS-guided trolling motor technology has moved to boats in the 35-plus foot class and allowed anchoring capabilities on most center consoles in any depth of water, from snook and redfish inshore to grouper and swordfish way out deep. Rodan Marine Systems has a GPS anchor to hold your vessel on location. Set it, forget it, catch more fish.
Every year, Noble Air Charter flies over 20,000 outdoorsmen and families just like you, economically, to over 300 Bahamian and Florida destinations. Noble Air Charter makes a substantial investment, improving booking and aircraft route planning.
to create the most affordable and economical flight possible. And tomorrow, Noble Air's team will rise to the challenge to raise the bar yet again.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench for the Academy Sports and Outdoors Rigging Techniques, and we got Ron Houston here going to tell us all about catching redfish. And I know you want to start with the simple first.
Well, the simplest, for the simplest way, this is more, this doesn't have to be real technical. It's going to be simple for the guy who's never caught them and wants to learn.
Exactly.
Probably the most popular is going to be the popping cork with a shrimp or a noise-making cork with a shrimp. It's relatively simple, maybe 18 to 20 inches a leader, a split shot, and a trocar circle hook, 2 to 3/0 circle hook. It's probably the simplest way. Throw it up against the shoreline, pop, 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 let it set, pop, 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 let it set. Probably the simplest way. We've had about 6 months of winter this year, so this is probably one of the best rigs that's been out there with the shrimp. Now, for a guy who wants to try something different, I strongly recommend the knocker rig. Cut shrimp. Once you find them, they'll be around some sheepheads or some drums. Cut shrimp. You really don't have to use a live shrimp. Once you get them going, I like to use a 1/2 ounce sinker. Anywhere around oyster bar bottom, oyster bar points. I want the bait to stay there. I want the keen smell of the redfish to zone in on that shrimp. Once one comes, generally to be schooled up, they'll all start coming.
All right, now it's time for the fun stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about topwater plugs, I guess, straight off the bat.
Which is probably my favorite.
Mine too. I used to do it wading a lot, and I never got off of it.
Well, the thing about the redfish too is he's not like a snook. He's got a funny mouth.
Right, it's underneath.
It's underneath. So a lot of times he has trouble getting to that topwater plug. So on those windier days, I try to use natural colors. The Berkeley Hijacker, the tail squats, walk the dog. The redfish is going to come up, try and strike the lure. What I like about it, this squat's a little bit more in the water. It gives him a better chance. But not only that, it's a lure to locate the fish. So if he's missing the lure, you got an idea that there's some fish out there. You might want to try something different. You can go to the Jaywalker.
Right.
More subtle, little less wind, lower profile. So when it hits the water, obviously you can look at
the long way.
All these Berkeley hard baits, what impresses me the most, the castability of them and the accuracy. So this is a more subtle bait, more of a subtle profile, smaller profile, but I like the natural colors. I do like the bone. Bone and this color are probably my favorite, Perfect Ghost. Now, if the redfish are hitting the lures, but they're not taking them, it's relatively simple.
Yep.
2 guys in the boat, what are you going to do?
1 and 1.
1 and 1. If they're missing the top water, nothing beats a shrimp. Natural color, I like the root beers. In the clean water and in the dark water. The silhouette in the dark and the dark color in the clean. Nothing like a 4-inch shrimp, which on a jig head, the Bass Assassin shrimp, probably one of my go-to favorites. But one thing we haven't talked about is, we'll get to that technical guy. The technical guy. Winter time, low tides, negative tides, north winds. What do you want to do? You want to go after those tailing redfish, potholes, grass flats. Your weedless presentations. Hooked weedless, you can use a little bit of weight on them.
Cast longer.
Cast longer. If they're real finicky, you want to try to use a smaller bait. If they're not finicky, there's always the 5-inch shad you could use. All this stuff I put in a small box to bring over to the show. You don't need much tackle. These are some of the basics. 20 to 40 pound fluorocarbon, a 2500 to 4000 series reel, 20 to 30 pound braid, and one thing that impresses me the most with this diamond braid, they've been with the show now 2 years.
Yep.
I've thrown this braid for 2 years, have not gotten one wind knot. That's what impresses me the most about the diamond braid.
It's amazing stuff, and it's super strong. You said you're using 20 and 30 pound, you're never going to break that. It's hard to break it.
No.
You get hung up, you can't hardly break it.
That's true.
It's amazing stuff. So now you were talking about the tailing reds too. Do you like to use that one for the tailing reds?
You know what? Some of the basic colors I like to use, this is one of my favorite. I like the 5-inch. I've got a weight on here just to get the extra difference. You get up in the northern end of the region, sometimes them redfish, if they're pressured, they can be a little spooky. A lot of guys will Texas rig it without a weight. I like the little extra weight to get the longer cast with the lighter braid.
It's kind of a catch-22. If you get close, you spook them, and if you land a big weight on them, you'll spook them. So you got to try to get the little...
So you can use one with a weight or without a weight, whatever works best. But I'll tell you what, one old lure that's always a guaranteed lure to locate the redfish.
I know what you're talking about. The gold spoon.
This is the pilchard color spoon, but this is probably my favorite. The gold spoon. Nothing beats a gold spoon. Fan casting. You can even throw this at tailors, but fan casting to locate the fish. Once you start locating the fish, one of the things I like to do is instead of keep going after the fish, I either use my bay boat or a smaller boat. Those fish will feel the pressure of a boat. What do you want to do? You want to power pole down, let the fish settle down, fan cast the areas. Probably some of the best lures on the market to use, a simple old gold spoon.
Very good, man. Very good. You can't beat that. That's all great stuff, and I didn't have to do nothing.
Slow clap for you,
Free info.
gentlemen.
You saw it right there,
Rick,
Bree.
your
The search lure, man. The gold spoon is what it's all about. That's how you find them.
Your people are on point. All right. The Alto Equipment Company Keys region has it all, and redfish is definitely no exception. So let's check in with Captain Randy Tao and see where we can get some reds this weekend.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, here in the Alta Equipment region, red fishing right now is as good as it gets. It's just the beginning. I like the summer months. June through September are some of the best red fishing on top of the flat. Now, remember, there's a lot of ways to catch redfish around islands and shorelines and beaches and channels, but the flats, on top of the flats in shallow water, is really where they shine this time of year. And guys with the technical boats, they get on them. And the tide is key. Now, if you want to get into tailing fish, you've got to play your tide. Obviously, if it's real high, there's no shallow water for the fish to get up on and tail. They will be swimming, and you might see them laying there. So it changes the way you would go about stalking, finding them. And you can blind cast with a gold spoon. That's certainly one of our go-tos as well. And a lot of times, I'll let people prospect, and I'll just tell them to cast. If you don't get a bite, move over 10 feet, cast to the right of where you went before, and just fan, like Ronnie was saying, just fan out your cast and cover the area, because the fish are probably there. If you keep throwing in the same place, you're never going to get a bite. So keep looking to see if you can find them. Soft plastic, snapping shrimp with the Fishbites work great. And then if you're on the edge of a channel where you're going to fish a little deeper, I like pinfish this time of year. On a jig head, works very good. I was talking to Captain Ted Bento with Skins and Fins Charters here out of Alamorada. He spends a lot of time in the backcountry around Flamingo, up on the flat, and that's exactly what he does. He has his customers cast, and they cast the potholes, they drift, whatever it may be. But he sent me this picture the other day of a 41-inch redfish they caught in a foot of water.
Whoa. All right, man. What else you got for me inshore?
The snook fishing is really good right now. About 2 weeks ago, they started biting, and right now the bite is on really good in most all the places in the backcountry, whether you're fishing around islands, on flats, in channels, even some of the moats that are just not marked. They come off a shallow flat going into deeper water. But guys are getting into them pretty good. Now, here's the problem. The sharks, lemon sharks mostly, and bull sharks. So if you get into a good bite of snook, there's going to be a shark that's going to show up. And chances are, if you use light tackle, they're going to eat your fish and you're going to feed them. What I like to do this time of year is I fish a little bit heavier line. I fish 20-pound braid instead of lighter line. And I want to get that fish away from that shark and release him so that he can swim away and not get eaten. Again, pinfish is a great bait right now. Pilchards. The shrimp are on the small side, not really a bait this time of year, but certainly the pilchards and the pinfish are my bait of choice right now for catching snook. And if you find them, a lot of times there's a lot of fish in one little small place. It might be under a tree, it might be on the corner of a flat, but pay attention to what you have going on, because there's usually more than one, especially if the sharks show up. I've got a photo of Jim Sparkman was down for Father's Day last weekend from Fort Lauderdale with his daughter, Brooke and Lauren. And this was their triple header they caught.
Nice. All right, let's go offshore, Bub.
The dolphin fishing is pretty good. And you say that and you think you can go out and catch a dolphin. Well, it's not that easy. But if you start looking in about 400 feet on out, there's a lot of weeds right now. And the weeds are a problem because if you try to troll, you're going to get tangled up with weeds. So you want to troll, if that's what you want to do, parallel to the weeds, which is going to bring you inshore or it's going to bring you offshore, because the weeds are never in the line you want to go in. So most of the guys rely on birds. The birds are key, and most everybody I talk to right now say the birds are putting them on the dolphin, whether they're schoolies or slammers, the birds are key to understand what they're doing. Those birds are there feeding on the flying fish the dolphin are pushing to the surface. So that's why they're that important. And you want to be ready, and you want to be certainly paying attention to your surroundings, because they could pop up at any time, and you want to be able to get on them before someone else does. And also pay attention to the weeds. If you're in weeds that have no bait, and these are little bait fish that you see under the weeds, keep going, because it's not as lively as a weed line as you need to find, and it's out there, but there's a lot of things that look good. So keep looking. Captain Brian Cohn on his boat, the Contagious, he's as good as it gets at catching dolphin day in, day out. He sent me this picture of his young angler Case with a big slammer.
Whoa.
Slamming. Love
All
it.
right, bub, tell me one more. Tell me about some snappers.
Mutton snapper. You know I like mutton snapper, Rick. It's one of my favorite fish to catch, and you know it's an easy fish really, because I like to get out and drift in deep water. Now there's mutton snappers on the edge of the reef when you're yellowtailing. If you've been chumming for an hour or two catching yellowtails, you can almost bet the rent there's going to be a mutton somewhere in that chum slick, and you want to try to do that before you leave. But I like the deeper water, 140 to 200 feet. I like braided line, and I fish a long leader, about 30 foot of no more than 40-pound test. And I like to get my lead and my bait away from each other so I can get plenty of bites from a mutton snapper. Chances are a mutton snapper is not going to get you in structure. They don't go to structure. They stay away from it. So that's why it's nice to use light leader, because they're usually not going to cut you off on something like a tuna or a grouper would do. But certainly a good time of year. Pilchards, ballyhoos, pinfish, cigar minnows are great bait right now. Talking to Captain Alex Adler, he's been doing a little bit of that if he's not dolphin fishing. And he's got a charter boat out of Bud Mary's called the Kalex. And he sent me this mutton snapper, this jumbo mutton snapper they caught the other day.
Oh, nice. Thanks for all the pictures, Randy. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Florida Keys region. He says inshore redfish fish the incoming tide on the top of the flats and look for the schools pushing water. And then on the lower tide, look along the edges of the redfish for them tailing. And then offshore, dolphin. Troll parallel to the weeds and look for the birds and baits under the weeds. If there's no bait under the weeds, then keep going. Don't waste your time if there's no sign of life.
Amen. All right, coinciding with the annual Hemingway Days celebration, it's time to sign up for the Key West Marlin Tournament, July 21st through the 24th in Key West. With $50,000 in guaranteed cash prizes, registration is limited to the first 75 boats, so head on over to keywestmarlin.com to secure your spot. All right, West Side, we're looking at you. The StarTron Central West and Real Legends Southwest regions are redfish ready with their reports, and we're also talking with our friend from CCA, so stay hooked, and we'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control, Berkeley, your fish, our science, Bajío, fresh eyes for a rich life, Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventure, R&R Tackle, from our tackle box to yours. Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealer. Visit one of our 4 locations or online at floridacoasteq.com. And Garmin, plot your paradise.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO Offshore.
Real Legends Performance Outfitters. All you need to feel comfortable on the water all day. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Real Legends Performance Outfitters. Durable performance technology and an unbeatable value. Shop anytime. Go to reallegends.com to find a store near you. The only reel with over 100 years of heritage. Alvi Sidecast reels allow you to cast over 150 yards with up to 900 yards of capacity. Alvi's state-of-the-art drag and 22-inch retrieve rate per wind is perfect for any surf challenge. Alvi reels are manufactured to best practice standards and are in fact so robust that the Alvi also comes with a 10-year salt and sand warranty. For more information, go to alvius.com.
As you can see, joining me here is Captain Lisa Fitzgerald and Ken Clark. You know, Ken, you are one of the recent winners of catching a tagged redfish just like this for CCA Star. So why don't you tell us, you're fighting this fish, bring him up on the dock. How did that feel?
Well, it was very exciting, Rick. Once I got the fish to the dock, I could look down and actually see the purple tag in the fish. So the excitement level went way up at that moment. And I just focused on trying to not lose the fish. And as I was flipping it up onto the dock, the leader actually broke. So the fish was in the air coming down to the dock with nothing on it. So I really had to pounce on it. I got the fish, I put it in a bucket with water and an aerator, raced over to West Marine because I know it was a time-sensitive register the fish through the app, got a hold of Lisa and her people over at the CCA, and everybody helped me out immensely, and here I am.
Well, congratulations. What prize did you take?
I went with the 22-foot contender.
With the Yamaha F250.
Whoa,
good
nice
for
boat,
you.
nice boat.
So Lisa, has anybody caught any tagged redfish since Ken caught his?
Well, the East Coast has it. I am telling you, Rick, we have had another angler in Jupiter catch a tagged redfish. It was his first redfish ever. Didn't even know he had a tagged redfish. Released it, shared it with someone else, and they told him. He's registered now. He's going to go back and go fishing. He's a CCA member. He might have a shot at either winning a brand new Pathfinder or a Spider boat, all powered by Yamaha. And it's really simple, but you got to be registered and you got to be in the competition.
So where do we go to get registered?
You can go to ccaflstar.com. You can go online and register there, or you can go to 844-387-7827. We'll register you right over the phone, and you might even win one of those.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
Very proud of you.
Appreciate
There
it.
you go, Ken.
Beat the odds.
Thank you very much.
Way to go. New contender, bub.
That's it. Good job. All right, Brie, what do you think about that? We have a winner, chicken dinner.
Excited, finally. Yay, I'm so glad you got one. Congratulations. All right, well, I have a feeling it's about to get real nostalgic in the TRON Central West region with Captain Page talking about redfish. So, Jeff, let's talk some story.
Well, real quick, Rick and I go way back. And I met him at the Gandy boat ramp in 2000 at an IFA redfish event, but we were fishing against each other. But that's where it all began. He was in a snowmobile suit. It was that cold.
Yeah, he was.
Anyway, long story short, together we've done Sportsman's Adventures. We've caught a lot of redfish in the TRON Central West region. And it's a year-round species here, but I like the late summer, which I mean like late July, August, right through November for my red fishing, because you get good groups of fish, you know, on the flats, but then you still have fish up under the mangroves and under docks. So you have a lot of options in the late summer and the fall. Now, in the winter, we'll get fish on the low tides, get in the potholes, and you can throw soft plastics at them. But right now, this time of year, on the high tide, you want to fish up tight to the mangroves or the oyster bars, and you can use live pilchards, live pinfish, live shrimp, or you can cut those into chunks and throw them in a sand hole on the low tide or up under the mangroves on the high tide. As far as lures go, 1/4 ounce Gold Johnson spoon or a Saltwater Assassin 4-inch golden brim sea shad on a silver 1/4 ounce jig head. You know, I got 2 photos tonight of redfish, one of a happy young angler. I didn't get his name. And then the second one, Rick, you remember, longtime redfish pro Rusty Jewett.
Oh, yeah.
To the Tampa Bay Redfish. You remember Rusty? I think
do.
he's older than we are.
All right, that's not hard to be, but okay, tell me about the tarpon fishing.
Great fish, though.
Remains consistent when the weather permits. Guys are doing good at night around the Longboat Pass Bridge and the New Pass Bridge. As far as the daytime fishing, out on the beach, throwing corked pinfish or corked crabs. They're doing better with the cork than they are free lining. And then this afternoon, right on through the weekend, we've got that big outgoing hill tide, and that's going to be really good with cork crabs on the backside of the sandbars. And my tarpon photo tonight is of my friend Captain Clark Wright of the Right Stuff of Venice. Moving offshore, gag grouper bite remains consistent. Spoke to a lot of captains. They said the class of fish this year seems to be a lot bigger, and probably due to good management and sportsmanship of releasing that fish that you don't want to eat. And they've been in 100 to 140 feet of water, live pinfish, squirrelfish, blue runners on a standard bottom rig. 2 to 3 ounce weight will get it done. My gag photo tonight is of England Marine Service Manager Devin Moran. And then my last species, red snapper. Weather permitting, you can get out there. You're going to get your limit of snapper. Captain Tim No's been getting his limit, no problem. And my last photo tonight is of the crew from England Marine, Mac and all the boys, with red snappers and groupers aboard the 31 Cobia.
Nice, Paige. All right, bud, we're going to go ahead and check out the daiquiri deck hotspots from the Central West region. He says, Snook, the beaches and the inlets in the entire region, fishing is going off on the afternoon outgoing tide. Use free line live pilchards or thread fins as bait. And then offshore, the mangrove snappers. The backside of the full moon should produce some good mangs over the ledges and hard bottom areas in 70 to 100 feet of water, Brie.
Well, Rick, we're always decked out in our Real Legends gear, so if you guys like what we're wearing, text INSIDER to 97108 for a link to reallegends.com, where you will find these styles and much more. Do a little spin. Just spin for us. Yeah, see? Looks great. You're doing a good job.
Hey, I'm taking dance lessons. I got my moves. I got to learn how to. I'll show you the spin.
Take some more dance lessons.
I'll show you the spin later.
Okay, please do. All right, our Captain Ron Houston, the Real Legends Southwest region, is here with us in the studio and is going to give you some options when it comes to hooking up to some reds this weekend. So, Ronnie, come on over here. And why don't you enlighten us some more? I don't know what else you could say.
What you got, Ronnie?
Well, it's good to be with the gang. You know, redfish in the region, it can be caught throughout the region all year round. A couple of different ways to target them is sight fishing, especially on the lower tides in the winter with your negative tides combined with strong north winds, which makes the water lower. Now you can go wading, kayaking, or a technical poling skiff on the flats or off the shorelines is very popular. And when the tides are higher on the mangrove shorelines, you want to concentrate on oyster bars, oyster bottom, potholes, troughs, points with current, deadwood, and blowdowns. Also combine that with bait like mullet, fry bait, pilchards, pinfish. What I mentioned up above with the winds is also a plus. Now the best baits for the beginning are popping corks with shrimp, knocker rigs with shrimp, gold spoons, topwater walk the dog lures, bucktails tipped with shrimp, and a variety of soft plastic, possibly a bass assassin shrimp, and paddle tails is all you're really gonna need. And I got a nice picture of a couple nice redfish recently caught while fishing with Captain Corey McGuire. Now still on the inshore side, we're going to talk about the tarpon. That bite's been consistent all through the region. They continue to get good reports throughout the region. To the south, Captain Joe Casero reports right now, round key to Wiggins Pass, the passes and the beaches. But to the north, Captain Corey McGuire and Danny Latham seem to be in the hot spots right now to the north. Still plenty of opportunity right now from Fort Myers Beach to Boca Grande. Concentrate on the beaches, the passes, the bridge spans at night. If the wind picks up and you get a duck on the inside, Rocky Channel, York, and Chino Key, especially like I said, if it gets too windy. Live crabs, pinfish, herring, and a variety of 4 to 6 inch swim baits have been to the go-to baits. I've got a nice tarpon release that was recently done while fishing with Captain Danny Latham. Now the offshore side, as long as we've got the weather, the red snappers. Captain Mike Avenant and Captain Corey McGuire are still giving me great, consistent reports in the 130 to 150 foot range for the red snappers. But I've talked to a couple of recreational anglers in the last week, especially Tom Razor, who is a big fan of the show, reports running out of Naples in this last week, 86 to 90 miles out, or depths of 170 to 180 feet. He's telling me fish were plentiful for him, but also in those areas there was a variety of gags and mutton snappers. Now, the captains and the recreational anglers have been having a tough time with the slower current. They strongly recommend live baits, but as the current gets stronger, the same old cut baits like cut squid, herring and sardines on the bottom, and it's important to have anywhere from 6 to 10 ounces of weight in case that current's real swift, or combined with the bait of choice. And I got a nice picture with recreational angler Tom Razor with a nice mutton and a red snapper. The last species is going to be the groupers. Right now, Fort Myers Beach, the Stump Pass, according to Captain Corey McGuire, depths are consistent with the quality size fish. Starting at about 90 feet, working your way out to 130. If you're fishing and catch a smaller fish in the 90-foot range, keep working your way out towards 130 foot. In those areas, you want to concentrate either big and small pieces or holding fish. Sooner or later, if you work from that 90 to 130, you will get in the zone to catch some quality size fish. That's why they recommend you keep moving. The key baits have been cut baits such as cut thread fins, sardines and squid, but like I said, also for the groupers, if the current's kind of slow, you want to drop down some live pinfish or sardines. I got a nice picture of a nice grouper caught in the last week while fishing out in those depths.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Catty Can hotspots from the Real Legends Southwest region. Inshore, he says Triple Tails, Lossman's River to Indian Key blowdowns, Deadwoods, points, and currents and tide lines are a great place to start looking. And then offshore, Permit, Carlos Pass to Boca Grande, fishing wrecks out to 25 miles using live crabs, Brie.
You know, Rick, I love having our captains in the studio with us.
I do too.
You know what else I love?
What else?
These babies right here.
Yeah, the Bahios?
Bahio sunglasses are definitely the new trend out there on the water this summer, and all you have to do to win a pair is enter the hashtag MyBahio Summer Contest. Share a photo or video of your fishing paradise and tag and follow hashtag MyBahio and at Bahio Sunglasses. If your favorite fishing spot is chosen, you'll win a free pair of shades and other Bahio gear. One winner will be chosen every Friday, all summer long.
Wow.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, coming right up is the Alvey Reels Northeast region, but first, Dave looks like he has some Taka Marine new products for show and tell at the CCA Workbench. What you doing, Dave?
Oh, I'm going to be talking about some rods and reels and some Starbright and some Magellan.
Wow.
All kinds of cool stuff.
All kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
I like it. We'll be back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there. Penn, let the battle begin. Alta Equipment Company, where uptime matters. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. Discover Crystal River, Florida. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin. Best lures, period. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Yamaha's reputation for saltwater reliability is driven by the 4.2-liter V6 Offshore's 97% reliability and overall performance. Reimagined with new advantages like built-in digital electric steering for incredible responsiveness and exhaust rerouting for more powerful reverse thrust. The legacy of the reliable Yamaha 4.2-liter V6 continues, now more refined and capable than ever. Yamaha, reliability starts here.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide-and-seek known to man. And Nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we
We're here at the CCA workbench, and it's time for the Taco Marine new products. And Dave, you got them tonight. So what do you got?
We got this really cool thing here. It's called the Garmin Striker. It's a castable sonar device with a GPS in it. This little doodad right here. It's just an amazing little device. Once it goes into the water, it turns on immediately, so you don't have to worry about it running out of power. And it goes right to an app on your phone and starts sending the picture of the sonar. What's down there? It's just amazing.
You know what else is cool about it, Dave, is that, as you said at the top, is that it has a GPS, so we can certainly go to maps. And here we are.
Exactly where you are.
There's the studio. I can create a waypoint.
Water temperature, 10 hours between. It could give you 10 hours between charges. You can cast it. It comes with this nice cord on here. You can put 20-pound test line on and cast it. It works 200 feet away from, sends your sonar signal back from 200 feet away. Very easy to interpret. The sonar is just like the one on your screen on your boat. You can adjust the range and the density, and you can turn on the fish alarms and put little fish emblems on there.
Great for non-batteried boats.
Exactly.
Canoes, kayaks, paddle boards.
My little skiff, which I don't have any.
John boats.
Yeah, it's
with
made,
tillers.
Correct. It's perfect for all these little small boats, and you can, like I said, you can cast it out and reel it back to you, and shows you exactly what's in between you and the fish. It's really cool. Really cool.
It's really cool.
Yep. And a lot of these things I don't like, but this is going to work.
Garmin Marine.
Yeah, GarminMarine.com.
All right.
Really cool one.
There we go.
Next, we got these cool rods here from Dave Workman Jr. He was a 3-time SKA King Angler of the Year, and this rod he developed to fish live bait for kingfish. It's pretty much what it is. And it's 7 feet long. It's got a really fast tip on here. A loose tip, because he's using live baits and he wants the fish to be able to pick these things up and run with them for a little while. And then it's got a really nice backbone for a bigger fish. You can catch giant kingfish with it. It's got some of the best guides in the world. The AFTCO lightweights, are made from graphite, titanium, and stainless steel rollers. They're frictionless. That's another reason why he uses them, because when you don't want any kind of friction. And really good pack bay. Hardware on the reel seat, and it's got a gimbal. It's hidden underneath the little cap down there, so you can put it in your rod holder and put it on your gimbal belt as well. It's always good to have a gimbal on there. And Dave Workman Jr., go to Strike Zone Fishing or strike-zone.com, and they also have a kingfishingzone.com where you can go.
Boy, you match that up with a pin reel, you're all set.
Yeah, you'll catch every kingfish
right, what
swimming.
else?
That's for sure. Next, we got some Starbright Boat Guard. We'll do this first. A great speed detailer. It's fast, easy, and enhances the color of your boat. Takes off all the dirt and grime. It's got these PTFE polymers in there that provide UV protection. Adds to the shine and enhances the color. And it's for use on any fiberglass, stainless steel, aluminum. You don't have to worry about it. You just spray it on and wipe it off.
I know. I used it on the Kubota, and I use it on the old Chevy over there.
It cleans and, really makes it shine.
Yeah, it does.
Starbright.com.
All right, now.
Last but not least, we got these Magellan floating, don't you need to get it out? It's a waterproof, floating waterproof case. And what's really cool is your phone still use your touch screen inside there. I figured out just a minute ago that I can adjust this lanyard that you put on there, and you can put it on and hit your video, and you can video with no hands, because you're wearing your phone on your belly. And my belly is a good belly.
Yours might be pointing up.
I might have to put it. Well, you can adjust it.
Or you can adjust it down.
Yeah, you can adjust it up and down and point it so that you can make a movie with all my movies now. I'm trying to reel with one hand and film with that one. Now I can hang my phone from my neck and do all my filming from there.
So we should send this home with Brie's husband Joe, so when we have the baby,
Yeah, well, I don't know. Nobody needs to see that. It's 100% waterproof, and it protects you from some scratches, and it floats. If it falls in the water, it floats. And like I said, that detachable halyard is really cool. And the thing only costs $7.
And by the way, Molly Farrell called you.
Yeah, she does. She keeps calling me.
Oh, boy.
Academy.com.
She wants you to bring home some McDonald's or
I
something.
reckon, probably.
All right, good job over here tonight, Dave. You've been stealing money from Ronnie, and now you stole money from me. I love it. Good job. All right, Brie, where are we going?
All right, well, there's definitely no shortage of redfish in the Alvey Reels Northeast region, so let's talk with Captain Tommy Derringer and see if he can put us on some reds this weekend.
That's right, Brie. Because you've been up here and you've caught some of these Northeast region redfish before.
They're there.
But they are. Rick's caught some with me too. But you know what? Redfish, they're definitely my go-to fish, and we have a great redfish bite happening right now and always here in the Alvey Sidecast Reels Northeast region. We catch redfish year-round and in so many different ways, not just in the backcountry flats and creeks, but along the jetties, off the piers, from the beach, and just about anywhere you can get access to some salty water. One great thing about redfish is anglers from the pro level, all the way down to the kid who's never fished before, they can all enjoy catching these fish. And all you need to do is catch one, and I promise you're going to be hooked on those redfish. The creek fishing right now throughout the entire region has been great on the low tide. All you need, it's a very simple rig. It's a live shrimp or a mud minnow on a 1/4 ounce jig head, and you're just going to fish that right along the bottom. Fish that rig in the deeper creek holes on that low tide, and you're going to find some hungry redfish. Now, also on that low tide, redfish have been backing in the skinny stuff up on the flats and on the edges of the ICW. They're up there looking for some small shrimp. There's some really tiny mullet up there right now too, and some little minnows. Now, my favorite lure to sight fish those skinny water redfish, it's one I talk about pretty frequently. It's the Saltwater Assassin Elite Shiner paired up with a lightweight weedless hook. You can make a presentation with that setup, makes very little splash, and that's going to be important so you don't spook those skinny water fish. Now, if you like to toss a top water plug for redfish like I do, you're going to want to get out early this weekend and catch that early morning incoming tide, great top water tide. Now, we also have a fantastic bull red fishery in our region, especially in Jacksonville in the St. Johns River. Those big bulls are going to start to show up real soon, and they're going to hang around throughout the summer months and into the fall. But, guys, just remember, handle those big fish with a lot of care. Make sure they swim away nice and healthy. They can make lots of babies for us. And, guys, I have a picture here. This is a picture I took of my man Joe Nelms with a nice slot redfish he caught with me on that Saltwater Assassin Elite Shiner that I talk about. Now, staying inshore, the flounder bite has really picked up this week throughout the region. I spoke with a couple of our resident flounder pounders, Captain Rob Bennett and Captain Steve Cascio. They tell me the flounder bite has been wide open here in St. Augustine. The slack tide has been best, either high or low, and the flounder are hanging close to structures like docks, rocks, any kind of riprap. Mud minnows, small mullet, and shrimp on a heavy jig or a fish finder rig has been the preferred setup for those flatties. Rob told me that they seem to be preferring the shrimp this week over the minnows and mullet. That's not the usual thing. But the average size of the flounder is about 1 to 3 pounds. There have been some really big fish in the mix. And speaking of those big flounder, Captain Rob from coastalfish.net sent me this picture of Benjamin Polk with a nice doormat that he caught with Rob in St. Augustine. He looks pretty stoked there, doesn't he?
He is stoked.
Yep.
All right, let's go offshore.
Yeah, man, mangrove snapper, it's mango time here in the Northeast region. We've got a full moon, I think it's tonight, and some of the best mango fishing is going to be happening right now as they're going to be in big schools spawning. And the mutton and the vermilion snappers are chewing right now as well. But that bite's going to continue to be good over the next few months. But right now is the time to hit it. You can catch those bigger mangoes in about 80 feet, but really 100 foot and deeper is probably going to be a little more consistent. Chumming those fish to the surface is going to be the go-to with cut sardines. But you can also catch them on the bottom with those same sardines or a live bait or a variety of other dead baits. But a lot of days, a live pinfish is going to work really well for those really big ones. Now, average size of our monster mangoes, it's going to be somewhere like 8 to 12 pounds. We get some really big fish. Now, also offshore, guys, the nearshore bite is still consistent this week. for those kingfish. Now, I spoke with Captain Jeff Patterson from smallboatbigfish.com. He tells me the kingfish are on the nearshore reefs out of Ponce Inlet. And Captain Jeff says he's been flatlining a live bait while he's been anchored up fishing the bottom, and he's hooking up on a lot of kingfish. And he also said there's plenty to be caught while slow trolling some live pogies or some ribbon fish as well. Same thing goes for the kingfish out of St. Augustine and Jacksonville. You know, the smaller snake kings, they're all over the nearshore natural bottom stuff. And guys, we got one last picture. Captain Jeff Patterson sent me this picture of his clients, the Stallsberg family, and their big old kingfish. They look pretty happy there.
Man,
Cute
Tommy,
family.
you had the whole plethora of stoked pictures this week. I want to thank you for that.
They're all stoked, man.
They were, man. They were all happy. We're stoked that you were able to join us this week on your Zoom connection. So,
yeah, man.
I guess I got it right. But anyway, it's time for the Strike Zone hotspots from the Northeast region.
Bye, Tommy.
Bye, Tommy.
Bye-bye.
Inshore, flounder in all the inlets throughout the region. Fish the slack and slower tides with mullet, mud minnows, or shrimp on the bottom around any type of structure. And then offshore, a good mixed bag of snappers in 120 to 140 feet depths. The big mangrove snappers are starting to spawn.
Well, Rick, I still can't believe you're doing it. Here is your weekly reminder that if you would like a chance to win this exact 1952 Chevy 3100 hot rod we have here on set, all you have to do is purchase raffle tickets at ccaflorida.org/hot rod. Rick, can't believe it.
That could be the best $25 you ever spent.
It is.
Yeah.
I already bought some.
Oh,
All right,
you
we're
did?
stalking the Fishbites East and Discover Crystal River Northwest region for some redfish next. Plus, we're talking with a guest from Florida Coast Equipment. And to keep up with everything fishing in Florida, make sure to head on over to our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and to see new fishing adventures along with reports, subscribe to our YouTube channel. What is it?
Captain Rick Murphy. Come on, man.
How
You
could I
know
forget?
what it is. You didn't forget.
Nope.
You're just jacking me.
Bye.
All right.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by TRON, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Alvy Reels, a better way to fish. Berkeley, your fish, our science. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 35 years. Diamond Fishing Products, our reputation is on the line. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And Strike Zone Fishing.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to Fishbites. We are the Fishbites Nation, and this is your invitation. So grab some Fishbites and get busy casting, because you can't join the nation without doing the catching. Ask for Fishbites or Fishbites Fight Club lures, or visit fishbites.com.
Come explore untouched Florida, where you'll step into holy sea cow and fish pristine waters where you'll reel in, whoa! Come discover Crystal River with exciting adventures and incredible surprises everywhere. From exhilarating river adventures to scalloping in the Gulf to delicious fish to fork cuisine, this is the place where you can relax into Just a short drive from Tampa and Orlando is the amazing Discover Crystal River, Florida. Learn more at discovercrystalriverfl.com.
Service and reliability makes Alta Equipment the leader for all your construction equipment needs. With 7 locations across Florida and preferred brands like Volvo, Toro, TOC, Avant, and Roadtech, Alta has the equipment to get the job done. When I need equipment, I trust Alta. From agriculture to landscape to construction, Alta has you covered. For sales, rentals, service, and parts, see your local Alta Equipment dealer today or call them at 844-GO-TO-ALTA. Joining me now is Todd Bachman from Florida Coast Equipment. And you know, Todd, why is it so important for you guys to be involved in fishing?
Well, look,
you know, your viewers are our customers. And frankly, I'm doing the same thing you and your viewers are doing on the weekend. I'm out with my daughters. We're looking for tight lines and some fish every now and then.
I know that's true. So I want you to tell me, how many locations do we have and where are they?
So we got 6 today. I hope to have 7 by Monday.
All right.
And we've got stores in Palm Beach, Fort Pierce, Mims, Florida. Just added Plant City and Land O'Lakes and Naples, and we've got something in South Florida coming real soon.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the equipment that you sell. Not only do you sell zero-turn mowers, but what else?
Yeah, so look, we're sitting on this Kubota Z400, 54-inch deck. This is great for a homeowner, but we do everything from this up to true production agriculture tractors. We got a 175 horsepower tractor now. Everybody knows Kubota makes the best small tractor in the business, but now we've got true large production agriculture. Then we've got our great construction line, skid steers, mini excavators, wheel loaders. We've got it all, and a great parts and service department to take care of it.
All right, speaking of Kubota, what about warranty and financing?
Yeah, we got best-in-class warranty, and probably one of the best part about it is that, you know, 0 down, 0% for 48, maybe 60, and sometimes 84 months on our product. So we make it easy and very affordable to own a Kubota.
So where do we go if we have questions for you?
If you got questions, you can stop into one of our locations, or you can visit us at www.floridacoasteq, E as in Edward, Q as in Queen.com.
Well, we're grateful to be promoting your guys and Kubota, and we appreciate the support. Brie, speaking of support, we got to go someplace else.
Yes, we do. Todd has the best, most comfiest seat in the house. All right, in the Fishbites East region, the Reds and I are on the same page when it comes to liking the shade in the summer heat. So you'll probably find him on the docks. Tell us more, Mike.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. As we get to fall, they kind of school up and get out on the flats. But Reds in the summer months are either along the shorelines, hiding under the docks, or around the inlets in the deeper water. On the shorelines, you'll find the fish are, around the docks near like St. Lucie Village. They particularly like PVC docks, which they can kind of pluck the oysters and they can pluck the crabs off of those things really easy. You'll find them around the mangroves, around Middle Cove and Round Island Park. Those fish are really focused on pinfish and mullet way up in the shallows. And while the fish in the inlets, they're kind of looking for crabs that are floating out the inlets on the outgoing tide. And Fort Pierce Inlet right now, we'll see a lot of reds around both jetties, really from like now all the way through September when those crabs start flowing. We got that full moon, a little bit of rain, those crabs are going to pour out. Redfish eat everything from crabs to pilchards. Live or dead, doesn't really matter. Start your day throwing a new penny or a Houdini colored saltwater assassin sea shad or a saltwater shad, either one. You can throw a black and gold topwater plug. Gold spoon works really well. You can also fish a chunk of ladyfish or a chunk of mullet or a live pilchard under a bass assassin or a saltwater assassin quick cork. The average redfish in my region is going to be, like in that 3 to 8 pound range. I have a photo. That's Steve Potter Sebastian. He caught that nice red. He was fishing up in Vero Beach with Captain Eric Davis, and that fish ate a fly along the shoreline. The other bite we got going, the tarpon bite on the beach has been kind of on a downward swing. There's a lot of fish. We're still seeing plenty of fish, but they just won't eat. But fortunately, the inshore tarpon bite's picking up and helping the anglers that are on the inside. Seems like a lot of the beach fish have already pushed through, but there's still some schools moving every day throughout the region. So it's not like you're not going to see fish, but a lot of times those fish aren't chewing very well. The key to finding and catching the beach fish is clean water so that you can spot them and then come in on them. So the better places are going to be like from Jupiter through Palm Beach. Right now it seems like the water's a little bit dirty from St. Lucie Inlet north. Live pilchards, threadfins, and crabs are working the best on those beach fish, or a white colored fly seems to be the hot color right now. Excuse me. And on the inside, on the smaller fish, Big and Little Mud Creeks, the North Fork, the South Fork, both those areas, the St. Lucie River and the mouth of Fort Pierce Inlet, are all seeing good summertime populations of tarpon. Target those fish with a saltwater assassin 4-inch Houdini colored sea shad, or like a 6 or 8 inch live mullet, or even a live pilchard to work. But you got to kind of fight your way through the catfish if you're going to use them. The best action's been right at first light to about 8 o'clock in the morning, and the average tarpon's 20 to 80 pounds right now.
Nice. Let's go offshore, bub.
Well, that's where the hot action is. The summer sailfish bite's just been epic. The fish are spread out through the entire region. The best action's been in 90 to 150 feet of water from the St. Lucie Inlet all the way up to, about the power plant. Captain Pat Price of Jensen Beach, he had a 17 sailfish day over the weekend, 17 releases. And there's, just too many boats catching 4 or 5 fish a day to name right now. A lot of the sails are up on the surface and traveling in small pods of 3 to 6 fish. So you just want to have a pitch bait ready to throw the fish at all times. You'll hook a fish and all of a sudden you got 2 or 3 fish swimming around the boat. If you want to have baits in the water or have baits that you can just turn around and grab and throw. A lot of times I'll just put a 5-gallon bucket in the corner and I'll just put a couple baits in that and have a hook bait ready, and I can just pick a rod up and throw. The majority of boats catching multiple fish are fishing live thread fins or pilchards, either slow trolled or drifted or hanging from kites. But you can also troll ballyhoo or a feather and strip combination and do pretty well, particularly if you put out a teaser chain. Most of the sailfish are large, averaging 40 pounds or more. I have a photo. That's Captain Jesse Berry. He released that sail. One of the 4 he caught that day on live pilchards. He caught that out of his Pathfinder 2200. The other thing going right alongside the sailfish bite are the kings, and they've just kind of stacked up and chewing from anywhere from 70 to 200 feet of water. The fish are spread out through the region. The bites are taking place, on the reef off Jupiter, the Loran Tower Ledge, the 6 and 8 mile reefs, and the offshore bar. They're really as consistent as it gets, but expect that bite as we get towards the weekend to kind of move to the evenings with that full moon. They seem to bite better at night on the full moon. Just about any live bait's going to work, but if you can find Spanish sardines, you're going to outfish everybody around you. You can fish them live or dead, fish them on number 4 wire or a triple hook Palm Beach mono rig. Ideally, you just troll a zigzag pattern, you'll get plenty of bites, but you can drift and do very well as well. In the afternoons, a lot of the kings are being caught from the bait schools up in shallow, up in 30 to 50 feet of water, or even tied on the beach. The average kingfish right now is 8 to 20 pounds. A lot of kings.
All right, let's go bass fishing. What do you got? Ronnie's here listening closely.
Well, it's starting to get pretty warm, man. But those warm days are really heating up that morning topwater bite. Headwaters Lake in Fellsmere is just on fire right now. I was talking to Captain Nathan Shellen of OkeechobeeBassFishing.com. He says the frog and topwater bite on Headwaters Lake has just been outstanding from 6 a.m. to about 8 a.m. Although on the days when it's overcast or rainy, it's going all day long. Or if it rains and you're out there, it'll just light right back up again. Work the edges of the hydrola mats. You can throw an all-white logger toad or a dye dapper into the potholes there and just crawl it out. Or you can crawl a white spinnerbait down the outside edges of those hydrola mats. As the day heats up, you want to move to deeper water and fish the holes in the grass with a Carolina rig, June bug colored fat job or trick worm, or just swim a weighted shiner under the hydrola. You'll do really well. What's interesting is, a lot of fish and a lot of big fish. Shellen's saying he's getting 40 fish a morning, 3 to 4 pound average, lots of 5, 6, 7 pounders, and even some 8 pounders in the mix. So Headwaters Lake, it just seems like it's the hottest lake in Florida right now.
All right, well, that was a pretty hot report, Bub. We appreciate it, but it is time for the TH Marine Hotspots. We'll see you next week. Inshore, tarpon in Big Mud Creek, live mullet or Houdini-colored 4-inch sea shads at dawn, and then offshore, sailfish in 120 feet of water off Stewart, live thread fins, pilchard sardines, or on a 7/0 circle hook.
All right, well, there's a lot to be caught in the Discover Crystal River Northwest region, so let's get Captain Jeff Hageman on the line for the weekend skinny. Hey, Hag.
Good afternoon. The redfish is strong throughout my entire region all year round. They tend to school up in the spring and the fall in large numbers. They can be found on grass flats, around oyster bars, shell bars, docks, passes, mangrove shorelines, and the flats. They can be caught on spoons, flies, jigs, dead bait, and live baits. The beginning of the incoming tide is a great time to look for tailing fish. If you got a skinny boat or a kayak or you're wading or a shallow water drafting boat, you can get up there in that real skinny water and see those tailing fish. As the tide comes in, the fish get a little less spooky and they're a lot easier to catch. And they get a little more comfortable in that deeper water. Trolling motors, even on the lower settings, can still spook them, so a stealthier approach is always necessary. When fishing schools, long cast, try to avoid throwing the bait directly into the school. This keeps the fish, again, a little less spooky and better chances for multiple hookups. So throw on the edges of the schools, and you'll catch a lot more fish. Our big redfish, our big breeder redfish, usually we get them in the spring and the fall when the kingfish are here. Our schooling fish average on the flats anywhere from 27 to 34 inches. We got some really good redfish in Tampa Bay and throughout my region. Like I said, those bigger breeders, they come when the kingfish come, and we get those 20 to 30 pound fish. Staying inshore, the snook in the lower half of the region are on the beaches right now, and passes and barrier islands and points, all with good current flow right now. The fish are getting ready to conjugate, and they're all grouping up for the spawn, and that's going to happen probably this moon, the next moon, and the one after that. Pinfish, sardines, pigfish are all great baits as far as live baits go. Artificials, white jerk baits, white turbo shads, either a quarter-ounce jig head or a weighted worm hook will work really good. Swimming plugs are also great this time of year. Our fish are averaging right now anywhere from 25 to 40 inches. All those males are out there with those big females, so they're getting really concentrated and really easy to catch right now. So right now is a good time to do it, and that outgoing afternoon tide has been the best bite. Moving offshore, Captain Rob Davenport of Big Nasty Charters out of St. Pete reports a great red snapper bite. Right now it's been good in 140 to 180 feet of water. The bigger red snapper, I tell this all the time, you're going to be on top of that, on top of the smaller fish. So reel your bait up accordingly, and you're catching bigger fish. They're on bait stacks right now, and on any kind of heavy kind of structure. A knocker rig with anywhere from 6 to 8 ounces of lead, 5 to 7-aught circle hook with 80-pound fluorocarbon leader has been the bait of choice. Squid, threadfin, herring have been it, and right now they've been eating more dead bait than live bait. It's always good to carry live bait with you, but they've been eating that dead bait a whole lot better. And don't be scared right now to use those vertical jigs. Either those butterfly jigs work really well also. And I've got a photo here of some very happy kids from Illinois having the time of their life catching some nice American reds.
Nice, some good vittles. All right, one more to go. What else you got, bub?
Captain Rob Davenport also says it's been a really good gag grouper bite this week. 160 feet to 190 feet of water, small edges, bait stacks. He had a chance to fish a grouper tournament that he won with some gag grouper and some Kitty Mitchells. The gags were caught in that 160 to 190 depth. The Kitty Mitchell came out of 350 feet of water. Both were caught on knocker rigs, 8 ounces of lead, 7-aught circle hook, 80 to 100-pound fluorocarbon leader. Depending on the bottom you're fishing, if you got a little bit more structure, bump up that fluorocarbon, you'll get a better chance of getting that fish to the boat, especially when you're dealing with those big grouper. Bait of choice has been cut squid and cut threadfin herring. He said, again, with the grouper, also dead bait's been winning over live bait this week. And I've got a beautiful photo of a great Kitty Mitchell. I have not caught one of those, and that's on my bucket list. Beautiful fish right there.
All right, bub, I'll see you this weekend. I'll be over your way. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Ozella Key Marina Northwest hotspots. He says inshore, snook along the beaches and passes, use free line sardines for bait. And then offshore, red groupers seem to be everywhere from 75 to 130 feet of water over any flat rock or some live bottom.
All right, Rick, we've got one more region coming up next. So R&R tackles Southeast region. Get ready to take some notes, and we'll be right back right here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
All right.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. The IGFA. Fish for the World. Noble Air Charters, raising the bar yet again. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy, fishing for adventure. Real Legends, everything you need to live life local. And Taco Marine, troll the edge.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide and seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we come.
Florida Coast Equipment, we understand you don't work banker's hours, so neither do we. You have a business to run, you have a family to feed, and you need your machine up and running. So our service team and our parts department will be there. If that means we have to stay late, we'll do it. If we have to start early, we'll do it. Because at the end of the day, you want equipment you can depend on and people you can trust, and we have a service team that will be there to service you.
Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Kick your gas into gear with StarTron.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now. Today's Power Pole tip is about the emergency start feature that's built into the charge. Now let me explain how this works, guys. You know, we're fishing hard all day long, running our trolling motor, running obviously all of our electronics, live well pumps, and a variety of different other things. And unfortunately, we're not paying attention to how much voltage we're really using. So the one thing that the charge does with this emergency start feature is it gives me peace of mind knowing that all I have to do is go into the Sea Monster app, click on the emergency start feature, and now it'll start drawing all of the amperage out of the trolling motor and putting it into the engine battery. So it'll allow me to replenish the engine battery so that when I turn the key, I have the necessary volts to get me home, which gives me that peace of mind. Now remember, on my way home, the charge is going to be replenishing both the trolling motor battery as well as the cranking battery. So if you have any questions, go to powerpole.com, and that's today's Power Pole tip of the week.
Well, Captain Jimbo Thomas is no Debbie Downer, but in R&R Tackle Southeast region, he'll just be downright honest. So Jimbo, tell us what's out there this weekend and what's not.
I am not a downer, Brie, and hello, Rick, Dave, and Ron. Yeah, unfortunately, redfish are a rare catch anywhere here in the Southeast region, and it's been quite a while since I've heard of any being seen or caught. Now, the few that are caught in the region are generally in South Biscayne Bay, from Matheson Hammock south to Card Sound along the western shoreline, and usually they're around the mouths of the spillway canals. And then occasionally there's a redfish caught in the Lake Worth Lagoon in the north end of the region, and not very much in between. Now, just like the redfish in the rest of the state, they can be caught on shrimp-tipped jigs, shrimp under popping corks, jigs with soft plastic tails, gold spoons, and cut and live bait fished on the bottom. Now, the few that we have caught here in South Biscayne Bay, they've always been on live pilchers that we've been fishing along the shoreline intended for snook. Now, speaking of snook, big schools of snook, they're being found outside of Lake Worth Inlet and Boynton Inlet, and when the water is clean, you can spot those snook or mark them on your depth machine. And then as you get further to the south, they're there, but they're just not as thick. Now, live pilchards, pinfish, herrings, and croakers fish near the bottom on both the tides in the early mornings and evenings. That's where you're going to get the most bites. Now, the snook have also been running up and down the beaches, and when the water is calm and clear, you can spot those fish cruising just off the beach. If you can find some schools of bait off the beach, those snook and tarpon will be following them. So look for birds diving, any other signs of live bait. You want to fish with live baits or sardine and pilchard imitating artificials. Now, I got a photo here. This is Dylan Cochran, who landed this monster fish. Whoa. He was fishing a live bait on a Jupiter rig, so fishing it right on the bottom. That's a full-grown snook there.
Sure is, bud.
Now, moving offshore, dolphin fishing has definitely picked up in the last week. We've been finding schools of fish anywhere from 8 to 12 miles offshore. But the problem is a lot of these fish have been on the small side. We've been picking through the fish, keeping the legals, and then we've been tagging and releasing those short ones. Now, when you hit a school, typically the larger fish are going to be the first ones to bite. That's because they're the most aggressive. That's why they're the biggest. Once the size starts shrinking, you want to move on, look for another school. Most of the schools have been under birds and scattered sargassum, and they've been traveling to the south. But if you can find something floating, you got a good shot there as well. And we've been getting them on the troll using rig ballyhoo and R&R mahi magnets. And then once we get the fish going, we've been pitching live pilchers and cut bait to them, cut bonita, cut ballyhoo. There's also been a few larger fish, not many of them, but a few larger fish. They've been caught under the frigate birds and debris. Just got to have to get lucky, find those bigger fish. Got another photo here, and this is Ron Marini, who did get lucky and find a nice bull. Caught this fish in 1,350 feet of water off Miami, and it was under birds, and he caught it on a horse ballyhoo.
Nice.
Now, moving a little closer to the shore, nighttime mangrove snapper bites been going off. The mangroves, which have been in the 2 to 7 pound range, they're being found on the outside reef in 40 to 80 feet of water, and they are starting to bite just after it gets dark. You want to try to avoid anchoring up on top of the reef, but instead look for a hard, ledgy bottom with sea fans on the outside edge of the reef. Fish with a knocker rig. You want to use just enough weight to hold bottom, 30-pound mono or fluoro leader, and 1/0 to 3/0 hooks. Best baits have been ballyhoo plugs and cut bonita. If you got any lights on the boat, you're going to get some pilchers and goggle eyes up most likely. You can sabiki those up, put those back out for bait. Now, the party boat Reward out of Miami Marina, they've been doing night trips. They've been finding mangrove snappers along with a mix of yellowtail and muttons on the reefs right out in front of Government Cut. And they recommend not to put out any chums, since this will spread out the fish, and it also attract a lot of bait stealers. Only drawback is the bull sharks have been really bad, eating a lot of their fish.
All right, Jimbo, I got a question for you quickly. Somebody asked, what is a horse ballyhoo? Why don't you tell them?
Horse ballyhoo is the biggest ballyhoo you can find. So your average ones that we troll for dolphin are, say, 10 inches long. A horse ballyhoo is typically what we would fish with if we're marlin fishing. It might even be up to 18 inches. So it's just a full-grown ballyhoo is a horse ballyhoo.
All right, well, I appreciate it. Now George won't feel so stupid. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the southeast hotspots from the R&R tackle region. Inshore, fish the local inlets late in the afternoon with live and artificial baits for catch and release snook and tarpon. And then offshore, look for the dolphins offshore under the birds, scattered wean lines, and any floating debris.
Called out. And we're out of regions and almost out of time, but we still have enough to tell you what we're catching next week. And this time, Rick, it's my favorite.
It's your favorite.
We'll be right back.
All right. Don't quit your day job, George.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories, fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
We are for those who know. Those who know that opportunity is nothing without preparation. Those who know that the right gear can make or break a day. Born out of a need for reliability, tested and proven on the Miss Brit Charter fleet. From terminal tackle to all your live bait needs, whether you're fishing for fun or looking to win a tournament, R&R Tackle has what you need to stay ready.
right, so next week we're talking dolphin, mahi-mahi, dorado, whatever you want to call it. It's my favorite. I'm so excited. And in case you're wondering who George is, he's our camera guy, and he's right there in front of us.
George! But he actually does, he actually does a lot of Sportsman's Adventure stuff. Yeah. He shoots underwater as when he's not afraid, and he shoots second camera.
And now he can find a horse ballyhoo.
Yeah, now you know, George.
Got it. If you don't ask the questions,
behind
you
your
don't
kayak.
know. Right?
Ronnie, thank you so much for coming over. I know it was a little haul from Naples, but we appreciate you being here.
Yes, we do.
Always a pleasure.
I really appreciate it.
Dave really appreciates it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Go out there this weekend, catch a big, and we will see you right here next week.